Today in class, you will be completing your Farewell to Manzanar graphic novel or your comic strip. Right now, we're going to go over the directions and the rubric for this project. If you look on the board, you should see a summative due date. Please write down that date right here. You should also see underneath the summative due date a revisions due date. Please write that down if you would like to revise your initial summative grade. The lesson objective is to create a visual representation of the selected chapters of Farewell to Manzanar. You can either decide to do a graphic novel or a comic strip. I have booklets for graphic novels, and I also have blank templates for the comic strip. What you'll need to do is select 5 main events. If you recall, we have read chapters 1 through 5 and chapter 9, meaning that there are 6 different chapters from which you can choose these events. You can combine events or you can combine chapters, but at the end of the project, you must have 5 events. Let's go over the rubric. Please fill out your name and class period at the top on both sides. You will have a total of 100 points for this project. The first thing you need to do is make a title page. That is worth 10 points. Here is where I'll put down your points. Then, based on the selected events, you will need to write down character names, their speech or thought, and you'll need to have an event or text information describing the scene. As with graphic novels, you are not to have any white space. It should be saturated with color. You will receive 10 points for that, as well as visual appeal, 10 points, workmanship, how neat and how much effort you put into the project, and finally, you will be assessed on punctuation, capitalization, spelling, sentence structure, and grammar. Please note that most elements are 10 points with the exception of the dialogue and text information. Your initial summative grade will go in this column. Should you decide to return your paper in with revisions, I ask that you highlight it as you did with previous projects, and then I will put your revised grade here. It is important that you keep this graphic novel rubric. Let's look at some examples. Here's an example of a comic strip. In this example, a student has decided to use a sheet of paper and make their own boxes. So here we have the text and the picture below. Here is the chapter title, as well as the text and the event description. Notice that this is the title page that has the period, student name, title of the book, and author. If we go back to our rubric, we'll see that that's worth 10 points there. Character and dialogue and text was as described. Here's a blank template. There are approximately, if you see me scrolling, 30 different varieties and versions of these text templates that you can use for your comic strip. You may use 2. If you need 3, let me know. They do not have to be the same. You can decide to put one event in one box, or you can spread out your events over multiple boxes. Here is an example of a graphic novel. Here's the title page with the required elements. Here's a table of contents. That is not required. And here is an example of the Chapter 1, the description, individuals who are part of that description. Note that the background is fully saturated and everything is properly labeled. Here's another example. Okay. If you decide that you'd like to do this digitally, you have that option. However, I do not have access to Chromebooks. Therefore, you'll have to complete a digital version of this project at home. In the past, some individuals have used clip art and made slides that would represent different pages or events of the rubric. You can do that as well. Here's a different version where an individual used a program that enabled you to make comics. I don't have access to a program which would allow you to do it. So if you decide to do that, you will need to make sure that you copy and paste the images onto Google Slides. So here is the information, here's the label, and there you have it. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me an It's Learning message.